In a functioning society, every action triggers a strict legal consequence. If you break a rule, you answer for it. Most days, this system operates predictably. Local police handle routine disputes, and standard constitutional laws apply equally to everyone, from the highest official to the average citizen. This extends directly to the authorities themselves. We call this liability. If an officer uses inappropriate or excessive force, they are liable, meaning they can be judged and punished by the very courts they are sworn to serve. This accountability is the invisible glue of civil society. It keeps daily life orderly and prevents those in power from acting without restraint. But occasionally, that order shatters. A severe crisis, like mass violence or total civil collapse, can overwhelm the standard police force. When local authorities can no longer hold the line, the state must take drastic measures to maintain its existence. They transfer control from civilian authorities to the military. This deliberate, temporary suspension of standard legal frameworks is known as martial law. The military steps in, prioritizing immediate stability over procedural rules. On the ground, soldiers must act forcefully and rapidly to save lives. They bypass the slow, standard court processes entirely, taking extrajudicial measures, actions outside the normal legal system, to neutralize threats, which creates a difficult question. When the dust settles and the normal courts finally reopen, what legally prevents these peacekeepers from being prosecuted for the extreme measures they took to restore the state? You have a situation where tactics necessary for survival suddenly clash against the return of strict judicial review, leaving a massive legal vacuum. The framers of the Indian Constitution anticipated this exact blind spot, and they designed Article 34 to solve it. Visualizing this timeline, we see a dangerous gap between normal law and martial law. To cross it, the system relies on indemnity, a shield for giving necessary actions. Under Article 34, the government builds a bridge over that gap, retroactively validating these extreme measures. The Constitution contains a built-in mechanism to forgive its own temporary suspension. But this shield is highly conditional. The extreme actions in question must have been taken specifically to restore peace and protect the public. It does not pardon malicious acts, personal crimes, or blatant abuse of power. Crucially, this validation is never simply pre-approved. It is debated and granted only after the emergency ends and the facts can be independently evaluated. Article 34 acknowledges the immense burden placed on those ordered to act during a crisis, offering protection for the heavy responsibility they carried, rather than simply excusing the act itself. To prevent this powerful tool from being misused, a critical constitutional safeguard was put in place. State and local governments are entirely stripped of the authority to grant this indemnity. Only the highest lawmaking body in the country, the Union Parliament, possesses the exclusive power to authorize this indemnity. By restricting this power, the Constitution prevents local authorities from using martial law to cover up state-level crimes or political oppression. Elevating this power to a rigorous, multi-party national debate ensures that the decision remains transparent, keeping local interests from overriding national law. Eventually, the immediate threat is neutralized. The violence subsides and the streets finally calm down. The military forces slowly step back, and the normal civil law safely resumes its full control over the returning population. Taking forceful control in an emergency requires strength, but knowing when to step back and relinquish that control reveals the resilience of a democracy. Article 34 acts as a structural bridge, allowing a society to travel from peace into absolute chaos and back to peace again. The framers pragmatically engineered the Indian Constitution to survive its most turbulent moments, ensuring the rule of law holds even when ideal conditions vanish. By providing legal finality for emergency actions, Article 34 facilitates the transition back to civilian rule and resolves the liability of the individuals who were called upon to restore order.